X gon' give it to ya. He gon' give it to ya. X gon' give it to ya. He gon' give it to you. X gon' give it to ya. He gon' give it to you. X gon' give it to ya. He gon' give it.
If you take any taxi cab in Colombia after midnight, you will, no matter what, get his number, and he's going to offer you hookers, blow, and weed, and any drug you want every time. 12:01 hits, and you just say, I just need a ride here. It's all getting offered.
He's got upsell.
And then, like, every once in a while, you're like, I'll take some Tusi.
Yeah, it's like
Tusi B, it's like this pink drug that they have there now.
a pink drug.
And it's
Is that like synthetic acid?
Because 2CB feels so good, and I can sleep. It's like all the positives of Coke with none of the negatives.
I have very much a when in Rome kind of viewpoint on a lot of things in life, even if it's shit that's way outside of my comfort zone.
Oh, sure.
So like, and not that these are things way outside of my comfort zone, but like I'm not on board with smoking. I have plenty of vices or whatever, but smoking is just not like I've literally never smoked cigarettes.
Oh,
I've literally
cigarettes,
never smoked a cigarette in my life.
Respect.
But I've done like a lot of acid and
The
Molly
first time
and
we
mushrooms
met,
and everything. Yeah.
We were talking about that.
But I went to Cuba, and the first cigar I ever had was like a certified Cuban cigar. Went to the farm 2 hours outside of Havana, and it set the
You
bar
did it the right
so fucking
yeah.
high. So I was all about that. And I've had a few different examples of that kind of like when in Rome. And so when I met this gentleman in Colombia, it was the first time I had Coke, and
That was
like
incredible.
we had
I feel bad about it though, because I'm like, that was actually my worst experience ever with Coke.
in what sense?
In the sense that it was laced.
Oh
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the easiest way to put it. Yeah. In a sense, what I didn't notice. But after that, which that night, I go back with my girlfriend at the time, and we're like at this penthouse. It's sick. We have like a rooftop pool, everything. We're like hanging out. We're like having this deep conversation. Still language barrier, but it's feeling good. Like, oh, I need to go pee real quick. So I just like, I'll be right back, babe. Like, hold that thought. You know what I mean? I walk down and take a piss, and, we pee standing up, pants up.
as men do.
You know what I mean? As men do. Pull down, you take a piss. And then, like, as I'm peeing, I'm going to fart, because you fart when you pee. And then the fart never popped. You know how you feel that little pop when you fart?
Yeah.
It never popped, and I was like, what is going on? And I feel bad. Holy shit, I shit myself. and I'm like, I got to think fast. She's waiting up there. We're just mid-conversation. Yeah. I just shit myself. So at that point, I'm like,
get those drawers off.
Think fast. Take them off. Sit down on the toilet. Finish that off. And then I'm just like, what happened? Like that, you don't, when you get older, you don't really shit yourself much. You know what I mean?
It's not my experience, no.
You just don't really do that.
You pooping yourself?
I did shard on my 25th birthday.
I feel like sharding is a little, I can understand that more. It's like chili night or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're just, you think.
I mean, it's like the night before my birthday, I'm camping, and just had probably like 45 beers or however many.
Yeah, all the beers.
And like, I'm like at a bench eating some breakfast tacos, smiling, and I stopped, it just
Birthday
came on
canceled.
through.
My night is now changed.
I'm going to go take a dip in the river.
So how do you resolve such a conflict?
So after that, I have to just figure out where to put my underwear. I clean myself up, and I'm like, where do I put my underwear?
Please tell me you flushed it. You tried to.
No.
And then just geyser overflowing.
Unfortunately, I was like, all right. Now I went to the window, opened the window, tossed them off the roof.
Yeah.
And then they just watch them just go down.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
And then so I told my friend about it, who was staying with me like at the penthouse and stuff. And I was like, dude, I just got to tell you the story about what happened. He's like, what? And I was like, I had a big toss last night. And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, come look. And we like looked out the window, and I was like, see that little blue thing down there? That's my underwear. I shit myself. And I had a big toss out the thing. And so he brought it up later. So by the way, my stomach was messed up for like 2 weeks.
I was
after that.
fucked that next day.
You said next day, and then that comforted me, because I'm like, okay, at least now I know where it's from. It's not a stomach. Yeah. It's like from the, because I did the rest of that back.
Yeah. But you didn't get on 13 hours of flights the next day.
No,
I wanted
I did
to
not.
fucking eat a shotgun.
See, that's
I was
bad.
Dying, dude.
So 2 weeks it was like that, by the way. But the next day we were like going to go see Christmas lights and have a good time. Like, all right. So we're going out there, and it's like one of those like every like 45 minutes. I'm just like, dude, I gotta go now.
It's like those
And
those
not-
Crohn's disease
yeah,
commercials
just-
where she's like, Rachel wants to play racquetball, but she needs to shit her pants right now. So yes, exactly.
That's
Yes.
exactly
Yeah,
how it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
I'm like trying to enjoy the lights and I'm just sweating.
Yeah.
And,
Oh
then-
yeah.
and so I'm like there with her best friend. I'm like, gotta impress him too. So then we're like going, I try to walk into this place to go to the bathroom, and then the doors are locked and everything. Oh, here we go.
Mhm.
So I go back out, and then Daniel, who is my friend who I was with, tells her, like, oh, he had a big toss yesterday. and then I'm like, and I'm like, just like, dude, stop. Like, if you make me laugh, I'm going to shit myself. Like, like now's not the time of joke.
Yeah.
And then she goes, baby, what is big toss? Because she's Colombian,
Yes.
and her accent's like really strong. You met Cedric.
I
Like,
did. Yeah,
and she goes,
yeah.
baby, what is big toss? And I'm like, not right now, please. And I'm like, so I'm just like, at this point, like literally running sweat and just try to wipe it before I look like I'm doing some hard drugs.
I gotta know, did you implement a man pond at any time?
a man pond?
A man pond. Are you familiar with man pond? As someone who's sharded before? So it's
No.
basically,
Man pond.
I've sharded too. It's cool. We're all
Yeah,
trust
yeah,
it's
yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
It's basically you take a pretty substantial amount of toilet paper and you wad it up into like a tampon type
And
shape.
put it in your asshole?
You don't put it in your asshole, but you definitely like
just pat
It's
it.
kind of like caulking your entire ass crack, and then it just the moisture will do the work and keep it where it's in place. But what in the moments where you're worried about shitting your pants, the man pond will rescue.
That
you.
would have
So,
worked. That would have
yeah,
worked. I just kind of just was thinking, just got to tough this one out. And the whole way ride back, I'm just trying to like smile and act like everything's good, but just I was sweating. We finally get back to that place, and it was just like, I can't do this.
So my whole when in Rome thing is totally fucked because of you.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I just felt bad because I'm like, man, that day I was like, for the first time, I went through this one guy who I never go through because I always just go through this other guy. I'm like, oh, this should be fine. Why not? And then, yeah, well, that's why not.
This was also at like we were hanging out all night, and then at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
it was like, let's venture this way now. So
Yeah.
no good decisions ever happened at that point.
No.
Speaking of good decisions, we got way off track there. We're going to actually officially start the podcast right now.
Okay,
So
all right.
thank you very much for watching. This is the 6th episode of MindMeld. This is the second to last episode before the end of this fucking dumpster fire of a year. Very excited to have these two gentlemen on. The way that I introduce guests on the show is with a rapid fire series of questions. So I'm going to ask you both rapid fire questions. I don't want you to put a lot of thought towards it. Just fucking
Sounds good,
We're
yeah.
going to do it, and then we're going to get into it. I have so many questions for both of you, and I demand honesty.
Honesty's,
Or there
Let's get
will be
weird.
honesty's the best
there will be
policy, baby.
consequences if there's not honesty. So, all right, you sir. Name,
Brian Rule,
age,
32,
not entirely
likely.
sure.
Okay.
Place of birth.
Waco, Texas.
True or false? You have pissed or shit in a Muppet-shaped toilet and washed your hands in the fluids out of Wonder Woman's lady bits.
False.
It's actually true. I witnessed it. We're gonna get into that later. Best place to swim naked.
Columbia for sure.
Is there a particular place?
Yeah, it's right outside of Watapay.
Okay, good to know. Worst place to swim naked.
That would be this.
Even if it's like a hypothetical that you haven't actually swum.
Hypothetically, I would say like a sewage. That'd probably be like the worst.
Yeah,
spot.
for sure. Like a sewage processing plant. You're
I
like,
guess,
why did I do
where
this?
they clean the water?
Mhm. Yeah,
like
but
before it's clean.
pre-clean,
Yeah,
pre-clean. Yes.
Full of
Yeah.
man puns.
You're definitely a
It's just
a
overflowing.
a
of man
parasite or
pond.
something.
Yes.
Something's gonna crawl out the pee hole.
It's getting in that dick hole
Yeah.
for sure. And just a hypothetical. Worst place to wake up naked.
I can tell you the full story, but I will say Juarez, Mexico. 'Cause
Just-
that
just flat out
happened to
Mexico.
me. But we'll get into that
Okay,
later. But yeah,
let's get into that. And then finally, how do you sleep at night?
naked every time.
Okay, good to
But
know.
always with a blanket with a fan on, just some white noise.
Good to know.
Just gotta-
Sorry, all right, let me ask that question again. How do you sleep at night?
How do I sleep at night? Knowing everything I've done in my life, I don't know.
Okay, good. Okay, it landed correctly that time. All right, and you, sir, name,
Xavier Keller,
age,
29,
place of birth.
Amarillo, Texas.
Is X gonna give it to you? Oh, take that as a resounding yes. Favorite childhood memory?
I don't know about favorite, but favorite. The first thing that popped up
Boys,
was
you're reverting into childhood right now. I have so many
Yes,
memories.
my favorite one. I don't know. I just had a memory of whenever I was maybe 4 or something, living in Hereford. up in the Panhandle, small town.
Okay.
Ronald McDonald was doing a show outside of McDonald's,
That's
and I was brought up on stage.
Hold on,
and,
like the Ronald McDonald?
a Ronald
He
McDonald.
came down from corporate.
it's gotta be the. It's gotta be the.
There's only one.
yeah.
So.
Oh, then yeah. The commercial guy,
Cool.
sit on his lap. He's
Awesome.
on all the benches.
Nice. Love
Yeah,
it.
same guy.
Love it.
It's fantastic.
All right, so he's doing a magic show, or
Yeah, and I got called up on stage. He had this fan. I couldn't fucking do it. I don't know what was going on. They were laughing at me. I didn't think that was cool.
Yeah.
They brought some other little girl on and asked me, "Do you think she's pretty?" And I said, "No." I said, "No, I do not."
No.
fuck you, Ronald. Don't put me on the spot like
Yeah.
that.
I hate clowns.
Least favorite stand-up comedian. Disregard.
Mm.
Do you like stand-up
Dane
comedy?
Cook, maybe. I just feel like
Too popular?
It's just like low hanging fruit all the time. Like I don't know. It's like
Like
it was
low-
cool. Like it was I probably loved it like back in the day.
Sure.
But like now that I'm like sophisticated.
Yeah, dude, that refined comedic palette.
Yeah. I'm more of like a John Mulaney type now or something.
Hey, actually, I just, not to be a downer, but I literally just, I've liked him for a really long time. I saw that he went into rehab yesterday. And
John Mulaney or?
Yeah, John Mulaney.
Oh.
And he's not the kind of guy that I would think.
Yeah, no, I haven't pegged for like
you went through stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that totally could be a persona. He could be like the darkest motherfucker
you never
on
know.
the planet.
You
But
never know, yeah.
I feel like or maybe he's just done an amazing job at putting out an alternate persona. I just don't
Sure.
think that is the case.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've watched Big Mouth.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. Just been on a huge kick of Big Mouth
true.
lately.
I'm tremendous. Like that show. Have you watched Big Mouth?
No.
Okay, so it is
Snap.
John Mulaney and Nick Kroll, and it's an animated show, and it is for me. Even as I'm 37, there are still things that like, whether it's books, movies, songs, whatever, even if Blink 182 writes a song about going through puberty and these guys are in their 40s,
Yeah.
sometimes someone just hits the right chord of like,
Oh, yeah.
you nailed that.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of,
That's the
pulled-
whole show, all of it,
yes,
every bit of it.
they hit the most awful parts of puberty and getting your first boner at the dance, like, which I've gone through so many times. I have many memories of having my suit coat wrapped around my waist.
But you had to like hold them.
Yes,
way
yeah.
far away.
Leave
I
room for
don't want
Jesus
them
kind
to
of
know
thing.
I'm hard.
God, that would be rock hard. For, like, yeah, I don't even-
I'm like, man, I wish I could have a boner that long now. Like, Jesus.
I don't know what my mind was thinking, where it's just like me and Sarah were I'm like, some part of my animal subconscious, like, I'm gonna fuck shit out of this fucking ninth grader.
It's
Lizard
gonna
brain,
happen.
yeah, all
But
the
it's
way.
just like nothing. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's so that exact mindset is personified in called the Hormone Monster.
Yeah.
who's
Yeah,
just he's an actual monster.
Oh,
He's
in
just-
this show.
In the show, Big
That's
Mouth,
amazing,
and he's
yeah.
just this giant piece of shit. So like someone bumps this 12-year-old kid's in the shoulder, and then the Hormone Monster comes like, rage, fucking rage, kill him. He always like it's all of these emotions that you see everything that's going on, including girls getting their first period. There's a period monster.
So it's like everything from 7th and 8th grade.
But it's written by people well into their 40s.
Oh
but
yeah, but
Yeah, Jordan
you
Peele's
know,
on it, like,
joking being
oh,
able to
the
joke
writer, I
about
mean,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
so good, like such a good voice cast, such a good like authenticity. I don't feel like it's this is how old people remember their childhood. Like they
Oh yeah.
No,
are checking.
Yeah.
It's kind of timeless. Like
witty stuff.
yeah, but they're doing a real good job of tapping into the true awkwardness and all of our worst memories of going through
I mean,
puberty.
just
unfortunately.
even that little bit, I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I got about
So
all
good.
that.
So I think it's like the 4th season. I think that just started.
Yeah,
on
they just put out.
Netflix.
Yeah.
It's
Still
so
all
good.
so cringe, but like,
Oh, for sure.
and like, yeah.
There was something really interesting that came up recently on that show is that it was the first example that I saw of blanking on who it was, but it was an actor who basically stepped away from the show because they were playing, it was a white actress who was voicing a biracial character on the show. And she basically said like, this should be a role filled by,
An African American.
or a
like,
mixed race
or-
person. And it's
yeah,
like, I'm
mixed race,
white
yeah.
and I shouldn't be taking this
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
I have very mixed feelings about that. I'm a very progressive person. I
Yeah.
think you know that you and
Oh,
I have
for
talked
sure.
about this
Yeah,
quite a
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
And I'm all for equal opportunity. I'm all for like
Yeah.
all voices being
But there's
heard.
also like being too far with it. Like, look,
It's a cartoon.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
just
different.
like-
It's different if like literally in a movie, and this is an extreme example, but like
No,
don't
for
put a
sure.
white person in blackface.
Yeah.
It's not the same
Yeah.
thing. This is a fictional character
Exactly.
in a ridiculous, absurd scenario.
Stuff like that makes the situation a little worse.
I agree.
Like to where you're like, everybody starts all of a sudden being like, okay, now I need to like do my part by saying the same stuff. And then they start going down this like whole, was it wormhole or rabbit hole? I don't.
I think I think Wormhole is like deep.
Oh, okay. So
Rabbit hole.
rabbit hole.
Rabbit
Let's
hole's
just do
deeper.
rabbit. So like the little like they go down like the rabbit hole of like what can I be doing to help like with the race stuff, and it's like realistically. A cartoon character, that's not doing anything at all. That's just like making you seem like the cool person.
Yeah, and it sucks all the fun out of like, us being in this exact situation, and then like one of us is like, you can't talk about boners or periods.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's like, and then like we're supposed to maybe feel bad. I mean, like you're saying, being like progressive, I do understand and like get that and like agree with the sentiment. Lines,
but
yeah.
But I do also feel that there are lines that I feel like most rational people agree on, and then when you draw your line 80 yards behind the pretty much mutually agreed upon line, you're challenging the mutually agreed upon parameters, and then all of a sudden it makes the majority seem like the assholes.
Yeah.
Like pretty much no one. Jenny Slate, that's the name of the actress.
Okay.
No one on the show said anything about this. No one was like, it'd be good for our image if you stepped back from the show. She made this decision.
Well, that's kind of good that didn't happen.
Yes, I do agree. For the show itself, it's also just like it's tough, man. Like
it's exhausting whenever because I see that so much, and I'm like, there's people who, no, they're just trying to do too much, man. You know what I mean? Because like I'm like, man, I was affected by all this stuff that was going on. I've talked a lot about that stuff, and so I see that, and then I see the people who want to be like, I'm on your side. I'm just like, man, I get it.
Yes.
But you're doing too much right now.
Okay. Before we get way off the fucking rails, because this is one of my things on my agenda, which I am notoriously bad at sticking to. I just want to get back to it again, just starting the fucking episode.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Brian, and then Xavier or Xavier?
Xavier. Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
X gonna give it to you. But you did a great cover of that, by the way, that you got to hear.
It'll actually be the intro to this show. So when you hear this
Oh,
episode, that turned out pretty well. Actually, I just recently got a fuck. Okay, Brian and Xavier, welcome to the show. We're not going to talk. We're going to just intro you guys first. Cool. Brian, super happy to have you on the show. Yes. You and I met last year.
Yeah.
And you were absolutely the first person that I knew that came to mind. I was like, I need to have you on the show. Yeah. You and I met under pretty incredible circumstances. Yes. I think you have a fucking fascinating life. There are so many. I feel like we have so many shared interests, but we've only hung out like 3 times.
Yeah,
but I'm fascinated by you. I think you're fucking great. So I'm super happy to have you on. And then when I do these shows, these MindMeld, it's always this roundtable discussion. And, even if I tap into a single friend, like an individual friend, initially to get the ball rolling, I ask them, like, who do you want to bring on to the show to be like a part of the discussion?
Exactly.
So I'm basically, he's vouching for you, Xavier, and then
big mistake.
I am trusting you to bring someone on the show that's like, and whatever. This could be a 15-minute episode if somehow you turned out to be like the Grand Wizard of the KKK, and like, I'm glad I got this platform to talk about the Jews.
I'm like, wow.
You're walking home.
We live together. What the fuck?
This is insane.
But this is also why it's a big part. It's important for me with all of the episodes that I've done so far is that, so we're in this house, we're upstairs right now. The hour before the episode is always super important to me. Yeah. Something I've noticed, and both you guys seem super relaxed, especially compared to all other guests. People get so nervous. And again, this is not Joe Rogan.
Oh, honestly, this is pretty nervous.
You need to calm the fuck down. Well, I'm going to get pissed. No, it's just like this, and this is also, I'm sure at a certain point, if things go well, we will end up in a studio. But do you guys watch Rogan?
Yeah,
he's in a fucking trailer outside of his home here in Austin.
Yeah.
There is something to be said about that kind of home feel. And everyone that he has on the show is someone who's been on a podcast a billion times.
Yeah, sure.
Most of the people we have on here at this point, probably for the next year or so, are first timers.
Yeah.
Because we're very interested in telling the authentic stories of the people of Texas, I think, is the broadest definition, and mainly Austin. But the people of Austin is also just the interactions with Austin. You're from Marble Falls, right?
Yeah. I was like, dude, I just want to see what he's going to say.
Crystal Caverns.
I was going to say, Crystal Lake. Yep. That's
but there's so many people. Oh, dude, isn't that where Jason Voorhees is from?
I don't know, but that's a sick band from Japan.
I'm certain of it. It's Camp Crystal Lake is where Jason Voorhees from
that's
Friday the 13th drowned.
That's probably why they got their name.
Yes. Also, have you listened to
Lake or no?
The band? No.
Oh,
have you listened to Ice Nine Kills before?
Yeah,
and they do like these thematic albums.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
there's one that's like based on books. There's one that's based on plays, and the most recent one was called The Silver Scream, and it's based on all of these classic. So it's like Jaws, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Crow, which is not necessarily a horror film, but it's kind of that like dark. Like, yeah. There's also an Edward Scissorhands, which is also not horror, but it's super, when you really think about it, it's fucking dark. Devil's Rejects, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Merry Axmas, which I'd not heard of before, but after watching that, it's this like shitty B movie from the 80s about Santa Claus who just like fucking comes down a chimney and murders people.
That's right, yeah.
But I love when a band successfully executes a concept album, regardless of the seriousness of it. It could literally be, so like Coheed and Cambria used to do these albums based off of what the lead singer would do, like a graphic novel, and then they would write an album to it. I was like, that's fucking rad.
Pretty sick. Yeah.
But also doing a concept album that's based on existing art, like Ice Nine Kills, also takes vision and dedication and creativity, and the lyrics are very on point, but it doesn't compromise the quality of the music. Like if you didn't speak English and you listen to Ice Nine Kills,
you're like, I get it.
Yeah, you would totally you would get the feel, but you would also tap into like, this is 2020
music's
metal.
Beautiful that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Ricky, like you know Ricky?
The lead singer?
No. He's like a guitar player backup.
Oh yeah.
But he's been one of my good friends for 2009. Like, so like.
He got COVID, right?
Yes,
I follow him on, and he did a very, and I think it's important that any person of any influence, I don't care if you're a fucking author, a children's teacher, a musician, a wrestler, whatever.
Yeah.
Like he came out when he came out on the other side of his COVID experience and was just like, this is fucking real.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I'm still alive, but it ruined me.
Yeah.
And they're in the middle of recording. He's like, I lost 3 weeks of recording time because of this. I can't, my fucking smell is still fucked up. I get winded going up the stairs, and like, all of these people are in positions of influence. This isn't fucking propaganda or whatever. There's definitely a public awareness aspect about this. And like, I was happy. Yeah. So I follow him, and I was very happy to see him come out for that.
Dude,
so
he's a good guy. Yeah,
but I've seen them multiple times and love them. That's before going down the rabbit hole, not the wormhole.
Yeah.
Because the wormhole would be like, where did they come from in the first place? So explain what is your origin story in terms of how did you get tapped into the musical world? And I'm super interested. I checked out a bunch of your music today because you took your sweet fucking time accepting my Instagram invite.
Hey, Daddy was working, man.
Daddy's gotta get that cash, baby.
Both you guys are in super fucking cool, very powerful bands that I've listened to, and I'm like, this is fucking great. But I can already tell that we have a shared interest in a lot of different musical experiences and types and performances or whatever. So I want to hear it from both of you. But like, what is your journey into music and then it becoming a career and how it's taken you to where you currently live? Like, I'm just curious about all that. So
like,
go.
Starting it would be definitely whenever I was a little kid, like just, I don't know, yay high. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, that's how I would say. When I was yay high, I would always.
I'm sorry, but there people are listening right now. So you're looking at about foot 9, maybe 2'2".
You know what I mean? Like I was
maybe
like
2'6",
4. You know what I mean? And so like
that's a tall 4-year-old.
Yeah, is it like what? How? I don't know, but like so. Whenever I was like, whenever I was very young, like 4 or 5.
Gotcha. That's a better method. Yes.
Like my home life was like a little bit difficult and stuff. Like do the whole like the abusive thing back at home and stuff where. So you got the stepdad like hitting the mom, the abusive thing. And so then my older brother, who's like, oh man, it's an old fart. So he's like 14 years older than me or something.
Oh shit.
Yeah, no, 13 years older than me actually. Yeah. So I'm 88, he's 75.
Same
years.
Same
mom.
Okay, same mom.
So like he would just come pick me up and then I would always just be excited to hang out with him.
From home. He's out of home, but you're
Yeah. Okay. So then he would, he moved out because he's an old fart. So he would like come back and pick me up, and then we listen to Pantera, Metallica all the time. Yep. Not just be in the car, like Kid Rock, just all the like hard stuff, and then that's what like started it.
I'm sorry, just real quick. Do you think Pantera would appreciate being put in the same category as Kid Rock?
No.
Okay, just to want to clarify. So
they would be very upset. Power Trip maybe that. Power Trip for sure. Let's go with Power Trip.
Okay.
But like, so it started with my brother for sure, getting me into metal scene and everything, and like just appreciating that and not being limited. Because a lot of times when you live in a like small town, you listen to what everyone else listens to. So
and I'm sorry, and at this point you are in Marble
Falls,
and
just for town of 4,000.
Okay, gotcha. And that's an hour or so outside of Austin, or
like 50 minutes, like 45 minutes. So I would just listen to like metal and stuff with him and everything.
And was it exclusively through him? Did you have any sort of radio
Just exclusive
access?
through
Okay,
him, yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
Because like radio, it's like I'm listening to what like my parents back home were listening to, which is just country.
Yep.
So it's like I know every '90s country song, George Strait, all
cool.
that stuff.
Good.
Brooks, like most of us do back here.
Garth Brooks, yeah, sure.
Yeah, Garth Brooks. Let's go.
I'll-
Like Mark Chestnut.
I'll allow it. It's fine.
I'll allow it. So
I find the music that people enjoy, I think, is very analogous to religious beliefs, political beliefs. It's what you grow up with. It's what you are kind of programmed.
you shape it.
Yeah,
It shapes you. Kind of.
So older siblings, parents, people of influence, the kids you grow up around. Like I grew up with, 99% of the kids I grew up with had the fucking puka shell necklaces and loved Dave Matthews and that kind of shit.
Dude, yeah.
I was like, you guys don't like Nine Inch Nails? Like what's going
And
on
they're like,
here?
dude, this guy,
So I loved, especially, and
I
I
got
didn't,
lucky with them.
yeah, I
You
grew
know
up
what
in
I
like
mean?
it's still like it was a suburb, but it was like 60,000 people. So
Yeah.
I love that you were able to kind of find. Well, I guess
It's just like my brother helped me with that.
was it
yeah.
an acquired taste? Did you
Um,
because you knew country and then you hear Pantera?
No, because it's like my brother is someone I always respected.
Okay.
And like he went through like worse than me, like
Yep.
kind of in our childhood. So
Yep.
he was just like kind of my like escape.
Yep.
So then whenever my escape mixes like another escape, which is like heavy music,
Mhm.
it made me really excited.
Yep.
And then like the feeling it gave me, like, which is just like, man, this is heavy. Like,
Yep.
man, I got problems, but I could just like be loud and scream about it and like headbang, and like now I feel good.
And that's
And
a
then
super
that
critical
just
point that
stayed with me the rest of my life.
so many people don't understand, that those of us who listen to like truly brutal hardcore, it's a release. It's not.
It's a
It's
release.
not
Absolutely,
feeding the fire.
No, I'm not
It is
mad anymore.
taming the fire.
I'm not mad anymore. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
listen to that and then I'm
Yes.
excited.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's definitely where it started.
Yep.
Like to like fast forward to where like kind of where I'm at now. It's there was like a music festival in New Jersey that I wanted to go to, but then I couldn't really afford to like fly back. So I had like, it's like $90.
Did you know that ahead of time?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, I could fly one way, and then like there's this band from San Antonio called Nothing More.
I've never heard of them.
And I remember like hanging out with them one time, and maybe they'll like let me ride back with them. So then like
They're playing this festival.
yeah.
Okay.
So then I'm like, perfect. So I like reach out to them, and they're like, yeah, you can ride back with us. I'm like, all right, cool. I could chip in gas. They're like, all right, sounds good. But of course I couldn't have. I was just like, by the time we get back, they won't charge me gas.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you moral support and good stories and
Exactly.
smiles, and that kind of goes in
Yeah.
the tank of your soul.
And
So,
that
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
that was the idea.
Yeah.
So I ended up flying up, and that's exactly what happened. I flew up and then hung out with them the way back, made them laugh and stuff. And then they're like, hey, we kind of need a merch guy if you want to come out with us. I was like, hell yeah, man. Like, I'm chilling, baby. Cause at that time it was, I was like 20, I think, or 21. Met them, and I'm like, let's go, baby. Like,
Okay.
let's do it.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm a fanboy, so I want to dig into this, but
Yeah.
I do need to understand what was going on in your life that you bought a one-way ticket and you were just like, I'll figure it out.
I don't know. Like, I've always been pretty, what you call it?
Impulsive?
Yes, there it
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Okay.
I had another word, but like impulsive.
But
definitely works.
did part of you maybe not want to come back?
You're
You're talking like 2,000 miles.
No. I just kind of was like,
This isn't Rocklahoma. You went all the way to the fucking coast.
yeah.
So-
It was just more like I wanted to start like seeing more shows and like start doing this. Like, this is a passion.
Yep.
So like whenever I went to college,
Sorry, was that like in a van of a guy with a chalkboard? You
No,
just
no.
for those listening, you just use air quotes for
whenever
college.
I went to like, community college,
Okay.
like
It's still college.
I actually don't even remember what it was called.
Do you agree?
It
Still
was-
college?
Probably SAC.
No.
No,
I was in
no, none
Marvel.
of that.
Like
Oh, no idea.
it was dude, I don't even remember what it was called. That's wild, actually. But anyways,
okay.
I went to a community college in Marble Falls, and I ended up having to drop 2 classes because there kept being like shows in San Antonio on Tuesday and Thursdays.
Oh.
Or emos,
Yep.
old emos.
Oh yeah.
And then they would just fall on those dates. So I'm like, well, I got to drop math now. So I ended up like dropping a couple classes. And then at that point, I'm like, dude, I couldn't even make it through a semester of simply 5 classes.
And at that point, are you thinking like this is networking, or just like I just love music and I need to go to shows?
I love music. I need to go to shows. I don't know what's going to happen, but I
That's
love
why I like
talking to
'em.
people and
Yeah.
like hanging out with people.
Yeah.
And then let's see where this goes.
Yep.
And if this goes to something bigger than awesome, and that's actually been my entire life. That's the only reason I'm anywhere I've been right now. It's not just network, because network, I don't know. I just kind of look at that like I'm talking to you because I want something.
It
out
has
of
a
you.
self-serving connotation.
You know
for
what I mean?
sure.
And like, even though I know that's not it, I'm just like very sensitive.
But you're forming
I'm very
relationships.
sensitive. So whenever I hear
yeah.
networking, I'm like, I don't like that.
I get
word.
that. I totally get that.
You know what I mean?
I 100%
so
appreciate
it was
that.
more like, I want to go up here and I enjoy music. I don't know what it is, but I also don't want to work at HEB the rest of my life, which HEB is cool. And I know
We're going to
everybody's...
take a quick commercial break. Our corporate sponsor, HEB, has the finest produce, and anyone who doesn't approve of it can get the fuck out of our studio. Sorry, I got real fired up there. So sorry. But yeah, so I totally appreciate that. I very much so had the opposite, which I regret it. I there were moments where, and part of it came from coming from a broken home and knowing that, like, if I'm going to invest in college, I need to come out of it with like a thing I can use.
Yes.
And I knew that I had some. My mom and her family are just this like multi-generational fucking musical savant kind of things.
Yeah.
And
Savant. I don't know what that means.
I don't want to say genius. It
Okay,
naturally
but
inclined.
on that-
Naturally
okay,
inclined.
naturally
Yeah,
inclined,
yeah. So I won't say genius, but just
Yeah.
like it's literally in your genes.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
I was born deaf, and
Yeah.
I went through a ton of healing to get
That's
to where I am,
wild.
and music was a huge part of that. And so like, I didn't talk until I was like 6.5. I couldn't tie my
That's
shoes until I was
insane.
9. I failed every single grade.
Dude, what?
Yes, yes. There's a whole lot of things that go into that, but music was the thing that
Yeah.
got me past all of it. And then it wasn't just that getting over the initial hurdle. It's once I realized that, then I started teaching myself like 6 different instruments and started learning engineering and everything. And like, I went from like, I'll be thrilled if I get out of grade school to like, I get it. Music is for me.
Sure.
But
There you
still,
go.
even with that impactful of an experience, I came out of high school knowing that like, so for example, in high school, I had band teachers and in middle school that I knew, even without them telling me, I knew because of the resentment and how they existed that they wanted to be performers and then they were relegated to
Yeah.
teaching because they weren't able to like meet the
Yeah.
dream and like
Yeah,
It's
fuck
good
with
that
the
you
dream.
did. You
too.
notice that then?
Oh yeah.
Okay. See,
But I was a
noticed
dick
that
about it.
I
was a
noticed
dick
that
about it.
stuff now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But like then I did not know. Like David Goggins, he talks a lot about that
Yes.
stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, but I'm just saying, like, I noticed that stuff now. But I feel like was it till I was like 27 till I was that observant, to where I would notice like, oh, this is something missing in your life.
But are you sympathetic to that? I watched these motherfuckers, 3 of them, rip music away from kids,
Yeah.
destroy their relationship and the love of even the potential, even if they just started playing clarinet 2 years
Yeah.
ago, that these guys would be such fucks. One of them, which was named Mr. Perry, which really upset me because that's my last
Jeez,
name.
That's brutal.
It was so clear how fucking bitter they were that they didn't get to fucking make it,
Yeah.
that they're not studio musicians, that they're not touring. And then they took it out on this fucking 7th grader that's still learning their scales. That actually drove me to be like, I'm going to
Hell
show
yeah.
up to band, but like I'm tuning it out and I'm going to teach myself
Exactly.
this instrument and other instruments and like, fuck you can't. But
And
for,
yeah.
for a teacher to take any category away from a student
Yeah.
in the thing that they teach is short of like physical or sexual abuse, I think is the worst thing that a teacher could do.
Yeah. Okay, for sure. Yeah. And no, I'm not sympathetic to that.
Okay.
And
Because fuck Mr. Perry.
absolutely, I will say like it sucks because like there's people like that who drive you more, but then they ruin so many other people's lives.
Yeah, and it's
So-
not.
so
Have you
you'll
seen
get-
Have you seen the movie Whiplash?
No.
Okay, have you seen it?
I've not.
Okay, phenomenal movie. It with J.K. Simmons, where it's this kid who goes into like a Juilliard music academy in New York City. He's a jazz drummer, and it's Miles Teller, who I give him a ton of credit. This dude literally, you're a drummer. Like,
Yeah.
you should check this movie out. This dude actually plays. I hate it in movies when it's so clear, where there's like someone's doing a solo and
What's
they're just
that?
like,
What's that
Yeah,
movie with
yeah, yeah.
that little kid who's like I want to say it's in like New York. He's like an orphan or something, and
Home
he's like
Alone?
slapping on a guitar. yes, no. He's like slapping on a guitar all gnarly and everything. But whenever it goes on to like a close up of like the fingers playing, it is
You're
very
like,
Yes.
clearly
that's not it.
some
Yeah.
sausages.
Yeah.
It's like a 40-year-old man, dude.
Sausage.
Some big old thick things on there. That's not an 8-year-old, bitch. Get out of here.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's some sausage.
oh, just straight up false sausages too.
Dude,
That's fucking nonsense.
Big old
dude.
boys. It's
Yeah.
wild. Yeah, it's like that does not belong to a child, man.
So watch Whiplash because it is actually Miles Teller playing the drums. And these are impressive.
Yeah.
It's jazz drumming, which is a whole different universe for me. And
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons is his music teacher. And they do go into this narrative a bit that maybe he was in the industry for a bit, but he didn't cut it. And then he got relegated to teaching, albeit
Yeah.
at the finest music institution aside from Berkeley. But he pushes this dude to the point of, I'm not going to ruin the movie, but
Sure.
to bad points. But,
Yeah.
but with good intention. because he sees potential and he's like,
Yeah.
you need to
That
meet your
stuff's
fucking
hard.
potential.
But you never know how that's going to treat someone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that stuff's hard.
But Brookfield Central in Brookfield, a suburb of Milwaukee, was not fucking Juilliard, and this was just bitter
Yeah.
motherfuckers being like, oh, I didn't get to fucking make it, and now I have to make fucking $32,000 a year teaching shitty kids. So
Yeah.
anyways, getting way off track. So all of that is to say, I didn't go to school for music, even though it was my biggest passion, because I'd already seen those who had failed
Yeah.
following their passion.
I will say real quick, like a lot of people I've toured with, they went to Berkeley and they dropped out of Berkeley. And they were like everyone, and they all had the same story. If you went to Berkeley and you're successful, that means you dropped out of Berkeley.
Sure.
And it was so funny because it was just.
And I think
that's all
the
I've heard.
networking there,
John
and
Mayer did
legit network, not the self-serving thing, but literally like you're jamming with
for
some
sure,
of the best fucking young musicians in
and
the country
then you
when
end
you're
up
at Berkeley.
finding someone else, and then boom, like, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
So, okay. So anyways, so you have a vision, you have an idea, you have a connection to music, but you don't have some sort of monetization strategy or anything like that.
No, I don't really ever do. You know what I mean? It's
That's
just kind of
fine,
like,
and I love that.
You just kind of flow, and then you meet certain people along your way in your life, and you're like, man, like, I like this.
So you get this merch opportunity.
Yeah,
And I know you well enough to know that your personality speaks for itself.
Yeah, thank
That
you.
it doesn't surprise me that this band, Nothing More, would go out on a limb to say like, we want you as part of the team. So
I did that. Couple years, like things were like going good and everything. And then like I met a girl, and then I got married. Wow.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't. And then then whenever I got married, I was like, well, I gotta like commit to my wife, you know? And so at that point I was like, well, I can't tour anymore for now. And then she like 3 months in starts like talking to her ex. So then it's like just a miserable time the whole time. Bottom of the
How long were you together before getting married?
dude, like a year. Quick. That's like some small town Texas stuff.
Real quick. Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
That was a Marble Falls romance?
Well, no. I was in San Antonio at that time, you know, but like still the same.
Yep.
It's the Texas aspect. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Nothing against that, but
fuck them.
but didn't work.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
So like, anyways, like, we get divorced and stuff, and then I'm just kind of like, hey guys, you like still got a spot?
Yeah.
And so at that point,
you were pulling back at that point? You had already told Nothing More like, I'm gonna matrimony is number 1 and merch is number 12 or whatever.
So like, yeah.
For those who don't know, the merch position is not some sort of like side job bullshit. In fact, most bands, especially not at the higher echelon, are making the lion's share of their money off of merch, the albums that they sell at the fucking show, the signed posters, the VIP events, like, and maybe the show itself. I think people need to really understand, especially when like they're relying exclusively on things like Spotify or just straight up stealing music, that like, artists have been relegated to the point of making virtually no money on their music itself.
And that's the wild thing, because it's not like how it was.
Yes.
And then the artists I know, like, it's like most of them have roommates. Most of them can't live alone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they can't really like live off of music. They have to record bands on the side. There's always a side project they have to do. There's no just blowing up. Because blowing up nowadays, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you get a Grammy, sick, or you get nominated for like some Grammys, and you like do all that. You think at that point, oh man, you got it made. But then it's like, wait, hold on, like, what do you mean you're not going to get avocado on your like Chipotle? You know, they're like, yo, that's $1.60. I don't got that. And it's like,
honestly,
hold on a second.
In this day and age, I really think blowing up is like, oh, your song got used in that Apple commercial.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
So then you think that you're blown up, but it's like, yeah, you're more known, but all those people who know you, who's paying what for what? You know,
there's something super fascinating to me about, so like you and I are similar ages. We grew up loving the same music or whatever. And not that not Pantera was never like, hey man, there's a gold mine at the end of this rainbow. Let's just dedicate ourselves. It's a guarantee. Yeah. But there is something more authentic and genuine about those musicians that are pursuing a career in music right now, because they fucking know that is not at the end of the rainbow.
Dude, I will say this. Pantera, oh, dude, this is kind of brutal, but like,
I mean, it's Pantera, so it should be brutal.
Dimebag Darrell, you know, of course, like, you know the whole story about him and everything. The last bus he was alive on burned down on me when I was driving it on tour.
What? No way.
Yes. That was the last bus that he was alive in. And so I'm
Hold on,
standing...
for those listening, that's not how he died. So
No. Okay,
that's so I'm not having some sort of felon on the episode right now. So.
No, he got shot with a shotgun
that's fucking
while he was
crazy.
playing.
Sure.
Brutal. But like the last bus that he was on, the Damage Plan bus, whenever I was driving that bus on Warped Tour 17, I was driving 100th and Being as an Ocean, and like just the bus started went up in flames, pull over on the side of the road. I run to the back and I wake everybody up, like smacking everybody in the face.
Yeah.
Hey, get up, get off. The bus is actually on fire. I'm not joking. Started pulling people by the hair. Not joking. Go.
Yep.
Get off the bus.
Yep.
Everybody's just standing there in their underwear in St. Louis downtown, just like watching the whole bus going up in flames. And I'm just like standing there watching
it was
the
like
bus.
Swiss cheese, dude. It was
Dude,
like
it was
burned
so
all the way
bad.
through. Yeah.
And dude, like it was just how it all escalated, how it all like began. There's a driver in front of me and he was like going to take an exit and then he swerves back. And then I'm like, well, I'm not going to swerve because I'm going to wake everybody up. So then I take an exit and then I'm like trying to get back.
Wait, had the fire already started?
No.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to get back on the interstate and I can't. And I'm like, damn, this is so annoying. There's construction. And then all of a sudden I'm like sitting at a light. I turn and then I see flames shooting out the back. So then that's what makes it like crazy. You know what I mean? And
Did you have like turbo boosters on the bus and that's how it went like real fast? Is the flames coming out?
It's a tour bus. Every bus does. Everybody knows that. It's common
no,
knowledge.
so then I was, that was the wild part. I'm like, dude, thank God that guy swerved. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
straight up, like, think whatever you believe that guy swerved. Because if he did not swerve and that bus caught fire when we're going like 70 or 65, whatever the speed limit is, of course, no one makes that.
My friend was at that show in Columbus, Ohio.
Dude, that's wild. Yeah.
He was a huge Pantera fan. And then what's so crazy is that the fucking just asshole piece of shit that did this was like a diehard Pantera fan.
And he's got mad that Damage Plan, like there's no Pantera, and like,
It's wild, dude. It's wild to think about. And I have the same thing about sports, although I don't know that sports has resulted in this level of violence, but like there's something, I don't want to say beautiful, there's something amazing about the emotional connection that some people have to music, that they could actually be driven to this
I will
point
agree with that. I will agree with that.
of horrific actions. And that dude literally felt justified in what he was doing because he thought he was fighting for something that meant so much to him. It was fucking horrible.
Dude, it's insane.
Hope he's burning in fucking hell, but that's awful. And so,
I mean, if there is one, he's definitely burning in it.
so there was like 12 people that died that night, man. There was like
Yeah.
security
Whoa.
guards, and he killed himself. There were cops that got shot. The whole thing was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Man. It was.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, that was like one of the wild ones, you know what I mean? Like, bus burns down. I'm standing there watching the bus burn down. You know what I mean? All my friends, because you become friends with people who you drive or you're on tour with, they're all standing there in their underwear watching the bus go down.
Yeah.
And I'm just standing there crying. And I remember my buddy Chadwick, he comes up from 100th, and he's just like, how's your like mindset right now? And I remember him saying that, and I remember it like kind of hit me a little bit.
Do you think you were done?
Well, no, yeah. I was like crying, and I was just like, I'm flying home, dude. I got to get out of here. I was like, dude, I can't do this anymore. Like, because I felt responsible. I'm like, damn, did I almost killed my friends? No, it's not my fault, but it's just like stuff happens.
It's an intense moment.
And and he's just like, then Lee, like the drummer comes up and he goes, well, buddy, if you, he's Tennessee,
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, if you leave the tour, we're leaving the tour. And we ain't got no problem with it. And Andrew says the same thing. Yeah, no problem, man. If you leave the tour, then we're flying out too. And hey, it's all good, man. It's just Warped Tour. And I'm just like, all right, I'm staying. And so that night, another bus comes in, and like I jump on it and I start driving. And then like that kind of changed my life actually in that moment, because it was like I just had a wild traumatic experience. And just changed my mindset of it, because at that point it's like I should be scared to drive buses forever. Should be scared. I should have all of these things that like just like chain me for the rest of my life. But instead it was just
it's kind of like Metallica getting on a bus again after losing.
It's the exact same thing. You know what I mean? It really is actually the exact same thing. But I was just like, you know what? Like just seeing them be like, well, buddy, you leave, we leave. And then they're all sitting there in lawn chairs with some beers, like chilling, like, hey man, we're just gonna hang out. Cause I told them, I'm like, hey, like my boss like organized some hotel rooms for you and everything. You can go to that and all that stuff. But I gotta stay here till the bus is like taken care of because like, that's what I gotta do. And they're like, well, buddy, we ain't leaving you. Yeah, well, why the hell we want to go in a hotel room? And so they all grab, they open up the trailer and like steam flows out the back of the trailer because it's like hot, but all this stuff was all right. They pull out their lawn chairs and they sit down and they're sitting on the curb. The merch guy Dalton like walks down, grabs like some beers and stuff. And everybody's just sitting there having beers like, hey, we're with you. And I'm just thinking, damn, if they would have said, you almost killed us
you're
and
done.
freaked out and all
you're
that,
done.
I would have never toured again.
You don't have a fucking voice in that discussion.
No.
You're done.
No, and so like the way they handled it changed my life because that changed me from my motorcycle accident, from all my stuff and everything that bad happens. I'm just like, yeah, this is all an actual mindset.
That's phenomenal.
You did. That was like the turning point. That was probably the biggest thing that happened in my life.
I think that's another thing going back to the idea of that people who listen to angry music aren't angry.
Yeah.
Is that when you listen to like Vinny and Dimebag and these there's so many of these like super loving characters that are behind some of the biggest metal voices or instruments of all time.
Absolutely.
Like, there is so much
They
love.
found their release.
There's so much love in this community.
Yeah.
And they
It's
know what it's,
incredible.
yeah. So that it would be great if that perspective could change because it's actually a very all welcoming kind of.
Oh,
mentality.
100%. But it's hard to get into that and understand that, and I understand that because everybody else's release is a lot different,
To me, and I could be totally fucking wrong, but as a white guy, to me, it's kind of like, ooh, I can't listen to rap music because I'm not black kind of thing, where it's like,
I get that feel. I get that feel.
I can't listen to metal because I'm not angry. And it's like, I
get that feel.
Good for people who are angry, but there's also just fucking great music. Like good music is good music.
I definitely get that judgment.
So,
you know what I mean? Because that's just like a normal thing.
Yeah.
Like if like lyrics in a Tupac song, people will be like, whoa. And it's like, it shouldn't be whoa, but it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, like if right now you started ripping Gangsta Party right now, I'd be like, damn.
Here we go, motherfucker. Okay, but so what led you to this very pivotal moment was literally just your the serendipitous opportunity that you had with Nothing More. And then, because I know you through Nothing More, not through you.
Yeah.
They clearly vouched, or Mark vouched enough for you to introduce us in a foreign country.
Yeah, dude, that was wild. He's like, you gotta hang out with my buddy Dave, and I was like, damn, like, all right, I'm like on like my first couple dates with this like soon to be girlfriend, like. How is he gonna be? He's like, no, you gotta hang out with him. And then I was like, damn, this is sick.
All of that circumstance was like, this is fucking insane that there's this band that I love so much that I'm connected to Mark and his wife on Instagram. I was posting pictures from Medellin because it's fucking beautiful, which is
like, man, I think
which is where you live now, which we didn't really touch on that in the beginning of this episode. So it's distinct enough that Mark saw what I was posting and he was like, oh, dude, our dude is there right now. Like you guys should meet up, which brings me back to our rapid fire questions where the place that you and I met, I'm blanking on the name right now, but it was like Chuck E. Cheese on acid.
Don't say like, it was like Jesus, Sweet Jesus.
Sweet Jesus is what it was called.
But in Spanish.
This place was
No. Is it Jesus de Dulce?
Yes, that's what it was. That's what I was. So my question to you was true or false? Have you pissed or shit in a Muppet-shaped toilet and washed your hands with fluids out of Wonder Woman's lady beds? That's the bathroom. The bathroom is every single urinal and every single toilet is like Miss Piggy, like
yeah, dude, I remember now.
You fucking piss or shit in her mouth. The sinks is Catwoman and Wonder Woman squatting over the sink with a crotchless onesie and their pussies hanging out, and then you push the water thing and then just like water just trickles out of their pussy, and that's what you wash their hands with. So
I love that.
Yeah. So when I asked you this true or false question and you fucking lied to me on my show,
I lied to all your people, dude, not just you.
Unacceptable. But it was
incredible. What's funny? I just passed that place like the other day. I just bought a moped and like I was driving past it because it was like my first like little ride, and I was like, holy shit, there it is.
That was fucking wild, man. And I'd already loved Nothing More for years before then, but there was something so personalized about that you and I could have hated each other, or you could have been like, this is some fucking fanboy coming to hang out, or it's it's kind of a burden on you. You don't fucking know.
That. Yeah,
you don't know any though.
Yeah,
you don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I could be some sort of who knows? I could be a total piece of shit, and then like your dude hooks us up and like.
Yo, where the bitches at, bro? Shit, man. I thought you just went to hang.
No.
God,
so we're in this like weird Chuck E. Cheese that's huge and totally empty, except for us. And there's this like banging dance music playing, and there's literally like weird animatronic things, and there's a dance floor with crazy lights going. No one is there. Dude, it's just us and your friends. And I love everyone that you're with was so cool.
It's like one of those like parties that happens later.
Yes.
So then like we were
4 hours early to the party.
Like 9 a.m. and they're like, 11:30 it pops off.
Yeah.
And we're there like 9 p.m. and we're like, all right, just coming for some food and like a beer and like
So my introduction to Mark was I'd already loved Nothing More since the Few album, and I went to River City Rock Fest. Have you been there?
I'm not.
So it's in like the parking lot of the AT&T Center, I think it's called.
Yeah.
In San Antonio.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Yeah,
it's
wild,
you
right?
should have been there.
It's like Warped. It's Warped Tour-esque in terms of its setup and the fact that it's in a parking lot, and so
like
but
stages and bands.
Yeah, exactly. So like 4 or 5 different stages, merch booths, food sections, whatever.
Love it.
The last ones that they played, Joan Jett was there. And so, like, I watched her on her 60s, like, first birthday.
It's crazy that
I was like, I love rock and roll, baby. I would love to make out with you in the back if it's cool.
Yeah, she's fucking sexy and confident.
I give her like a little, like, hey, how you doing?
You let her know.
You let her know. You just putting the fill out, and she was just like, good. And
she came up to you and she's like,
all right.
She comes up, she's like, I fucked Bowie. What do you got for me?
At that point, I'd be like, find out.
Oh, shit. They better be covered in glitter, man.
I go to this River City Rock Fest. Primus is playing, Bush is playing, 9 Inch Nails, Fever 333. Who their drummer Alex is just like
madman.
He's like
absolute.
My favorite thing on Instagram is just like watching his fucking videos where he
Guy
literally
is a madman.
He like jumps off screen into his seat and he's like, ah! And he's just the crazy. He's so good.
Have you seen him?
No.
So good.
Wait till later.
All right.
I'm literally wearing this shirt that I'm wearing right now. And I'm walking. Oh, I took a bunch of mushrooms. That's an important context.
Yeah, that's nice.
So
I've never done mushrooms, by the way. Not tonight. I'm not going to cross.
No, I put a bunch of your beer. So the second half of this episode is going to be really good. I'm walking around in this shirt, tripping balls, and this woman, this very nice, lovely woman, walks up to me, and she's like, "Do you like that band?" Pointing at my shirt, and I was like, "Yeah." Oh my god, I don't, and I could barely form sentences.
Was it Sarah?
I was like,
it was Sarah one day.
So I was like, yeah, they're so good. It's just like, if you haven't heard them, and she goes, "Well, don't tell anyone, but the guitarist put a baby in me," and I'm tripping balls. So I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Did he hurt you? Like, does other people know?" And she's
other people know that he put a baby.
She's just like soaking up the awfulness of me, like writhing around in this like moment of like, holy shit. And then she just like literally just like kind of guides my shoulder, like kind of turns me around, and then Mark is standing right behind me. I was like, oh, do you know her? He's like, yeah. Like, yes, we have a kid together.
Yes, so I have put a child in her.
That could have been a 5-minute exchange. We hung out for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Dude.
And again, I'm tripping ball. And at first I didn't have sunglasses on. And I'm talking to Mark, and I find myself like tracking the freckles. Honestly, I was so like, oh my god! And I'm putting him sunglasses. I'm so out of it, but I was also so cognizant of the fact like this is such a cool, unique experience.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And at any time, they could have been like, well, good to meet you, or we're going backstage or whatever.
But the vibe, dude, you always chase the vibe, baby. You know what I'm saying? Everybody does. You know, it's like they're the same way. You know, it's like, man, this guy's a good guy.
That's really amazing. Is like the music community is a lot more like, it's so much more tangible than you would think. Like getting into that space, and like.
Yeah,
you know, like seeing like where Brian is and like what he's done, like the fun things, you know, you get to do, and like how the Nothing More guys, like a band that you've been or that you
for years,
you've liked them forever, like appreciate their music and stuff, and then you're like, oh, this is just like the homies now. I like grew up in San Antonio and like the hardcore scene and stuff, so it's like, oh, you kind of like idealize like oh shit, you know, like these like bands are just like the biggest deal. They're on all these tour circuits. They're like oh, like everybody's wearing their shirts, like. Yep. It just seems like way more than you could ever do, and then it's like, oh, literally just kind of like be cool and like put the work in, and it's like right there, like
done,
super doable, you know.
That's it, yeah.
And speaking of which, I'm gonna get it here. It's in my notes. Thin Ice.
Thin Ice.
Damn,
your shit was cool, dude. Like,
yeah, Thin Ice goes off. I'm not gonna lie.
I think my first like entry into what I would call real music in terms of like microphones are rolling and that's it, and then the rest is just passion and songwriting, is early Nirvana.
Sure,
like
yeah.
Bleach, and it's like sloppy,
Bleach
but like
goes.
that's what I'm saying. Not Nevermind, or like literally,
That's a hardcore album.
Yeah, literally. My
Absolutely.
entry into real music and like that level of passion, which has nothing to do with like musical expertise, and it's more about feeling and emotion and energy, was Bleach. And then from there, I got into, I mean, things like bands like Blindside, and there's a lot of like bands that almost sound not sloppy, but just it's energy first.
Oh, absolutely.
And everything else.
You kind of like appreciate that like lo-fi quality about it as well, though. You know,
For sure.
it's like just like the energy and the release, and like, oh, you know, like I'm not so angry because like, oh, you know, it's just like you like feel that fucking thrash. Like, oh, you listen to like Kill 'Em All remastered or not, like that's a fucking hardcore album, you know?
Yes, totally, dude.
Like that shit goes off and it gets you pumped, and you're just like, okay, and like
people like say the same thing about me and him.
Yep. Yeah.
Which would be like, oh man, dude, that's the nicest guy, man. Like that, and it's
Friendly
like
folk.
if they listen to the music that we listen to or play, they're like, holy shit!
why
like,
you so mad?
Yeah.
So it was something I actually really liked about some of the you guys put out some like B-sides recently, right?
Yeah, so like there was
I told you, I looked through your shit, man. Like you gotta fucking answer for it.
Shit, respect. All right. Yeah, no, I'm here for it.
There was a vibe about the releases that felt live.
Yeah, honestly,
like-
so every song was released on like a Saturday or Sunday. It was written that week.
Oh,
So
cool,
like
cool,
yeah,
cool.
and sometimes it wouldn't even have been started until like, you know, the last part of the week. Really it's the fucking wizard homeboy Jake doing his own thing right now, but like, you know, he's just one of those people just super fucking talented. That's it. He's just talented. You know, he's got, you know, a lot of like
You're saying
expressing to do.
he's
you
like
know
the
what I'm saying?
leader.
He is, yeah, he's like
Gotcha.
Minority.
he is minority as well.
He wrote all of Minority.
Oh shit! Okay, so
He
that's your
is,
guys'
yeah.
connection, guys.
Yeah.
So I was saying, connective
Yeah,
tissue,
yeah.
the music or whatever.
Sure.
So like, so again, to be clear for those listening or watching, so your band is Minority, your band is Thin Ice, and so you have this connective tissue. What's his name?
Jake.
Jake.
Gallegos.
Okay, gotcha. So he is the creative force.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Cool.
guy
Yeah, I
is
mean, as
a
far as like the
madman.
bands go, I mean, like we know each other like separately. I mean, just through like the music scene in San Antonio. He is like, you know, the anchor in both of those things, like, you know, where like all that is coming from. But
That's awesome.
yeah, I mean,
What's he doing now? You guys are still making music, right?
yeah. Right now we're just kind of like chilling out. He's a teacher, and you know, just kind of like doing his shit.
Because
And,
you're not exactly touring right now.
oh,
right?
exactly.
So,
Yeah, and that's kind of the plan. It's just kind of like
Yeah.
towards like the beginning of the year, Thin Ice had recorded a full length that I was not a part of. I wasn't in the band yet.
Okay.
And you know, they're getting that worked on by another homie, Ryan Harvey, was doing all like the producing and stuff on that. And then Jake asked me to be in the band. There was some like lineup changes. He
Kick
yeah.
some people out, dude.
yeah. It's
Sometimes those decisions
then
gotta be
go
made.
and get homeboy. Come on, yeah.
And you play bass, right?
In the band,
In the
yeah,
band,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I've been playing guitar since I was like 12. So like what, 17 years or
Is that,
something.
I feel like so.
yeah.
I consider myself a guitar player first, which I
Sure,
think
sure,
opens up the like you understand bass. It doesn't necessarily. I'm no offense against you. I'm just saying
Sure.
it doesn't make us bass players by default.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you understand the approach to the instrument because
Absolutely,
you understand
yeah.
guitar. So
I mean, like my first instrument was like piano, and then violin, and then
Piano,
guitar.
me too,
You know,
so-
so
That's
for
sick.
sure,
yeah. So
it's a great
That goes
gateway
off.
instrument for sure.
Dude, you know what's funny? It's like just yesterday I was like listening to Charlie Brown. I guess I don't know why, but I'm like I actually can't remember why. But I
because
just remember
boom,
like,
boom, 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 boom,
dude,
boom,
I was
boom,
like,
boom,
dude, if
that
I can just
goes
learn,
off. That's why.
you know, I was like, dude, if I can learn that on piano,
Oh, that would be impressive. Yeah. It's like a party trick, you know.
And then it's like, that's what I was saying. I was like, I don't want to like learn piano. I just want to know the party trick.
The Vince Guilardi trio.
Is that what
Oh,
it
that-
is?
That like real
Okay.
distinct like that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like the Peanuts theme or whatever.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
for sure.
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm like, dude, if I could just do that, that'd be sick. Like,
Yeah.
no Beethoven stuff, just like hit that one for the real ones.
I'm all for that. My only thing is that I have a real disdain for child choirs. And there's that one iconic Peanuts song that's like, Christmas time is here. And there's something real creepy, like all the kids
That
are
is
dead.
super
Like you don't see the kids, but
Yeah.
all of them have been gutted.
It's
and
like a
hung,
heavy Silent
and
Hill
they're
vibe
like,
to it,
it's,
right?
it's,
Yeah.
that's just the vibe that I get. I get a real Silent Hill vibe from hearing that song.
Oh, no,
I don't like it.
That was wild.
But they're like, doom, 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 doom. Yeah, like the Peanuts, like that's all Vince for sure. And I like all that shit. You're gonna need to get over the fact that the child choir was dead because that's just
It wasn't the
that
dead
was
thing.
fucking documented, dude. that's just a historical fact.
That's incredible.
So you guys met through, I'm blanking on the name again.
Jake.
Yeah,
Jake
Jake.
Yeah, more or less, I guess we kind of did meet through Jake.
I would say.
is minority pre.
No. Minority's like very new. Like Jake was like he writes everything. He has like 8 bands, you know.
Man's a wizard, yeah. Super
Guy's an
talented.
absolute bad band. You
Love
know,
it.
he's like one of the people that you try to understand him all the time. You're like, damn,
Yep.
I just can't. And then like he's
Yeah.
also the same people that I meet all the time on the road.
Yep.
Where they are so smart and so good at what they do that the love for what they do is like kind of fades. The depression like comes in. So then like there's a lot of times where I'll be driving though, someone will come up and like they'll be sitting in the passenger seat wanting to kill themselves.
Yep.
Had a few people like, you know, I'm never gonna name names ever. But like that just like try to jump off the bus.
Sure.
But it's like airlocked. And I'm just like, holy shit, this guy's on this level, but he's gonna sign autographs tomorrow. And those people are like, man, you're so lucky to do what you do. And I'm like, damn, this guy's
You
in a
don't
different
even know.
spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is like now a job. You know what I mean? This is not
Yeah, like what's the price of like monetizing your passion? Like
exactly.
I kind of like wonder
exactly.
that a lot.
His like release,
especially when you have kids and stuff.
his
Yeah,
release
sure.
is
Sure,
gone.
yeah, being away
You know
from
what
your
I mean?
family or something.
All of that. So like Jake, like I feel like is a lot like in my opinion, like similar to that, where I all the time I'm like, dude, you are a madman. Like we could do
Yeah,
anything.
fucking
And he's
brilliant,
just
for
like,
sure.
I'm not a madman. Like I'm not like, you know, he just like does
Yeah, he's
everything I
modest.
wish I could do, but I can't. And it's opened me up, like not just to musicians, but to this. Whenever I talk to someone, I'm just like, you never know where they're at.
Sure. And I think it's a parallel that I've noticed between the music world and the advertising world, which is where, well, there's multiple other words, but like,
Yeah.
so I my big boy job is in the advertising world.
Yeah.
And when I meet really talented programmers, these are guys
Got you.
who
Yeah.
legitimately speak a different language.
Yeah.
There are
Sure,
these
yeah.
multiple
They
different
see
coding
the world
languages.
differently.
Yes. That while we need to work congruously to meet our shared goals, like we have to build a website for this client,
Yeah.
I will shelter them from the client because I've seen it where you get that web talent in the same room as this guy who's like, the logo needs to be bigger because our burgers are the best. And this guy's like, fuck you. Like, it doesn't, like,
yeah.
there are certain things where like
100%.
there's a certain
Yeah.
creative,
No, exact. You're said it.
it's a package deal, right?
Yeah.
So even before slipping into the depression, I just feel like that skill set, that toolbox it's a gift, but it's also a curse that you're not equipped by default
Yeah.
with the same level to socially assimilate to
Yeah.
all these fans that you're going to meet or every other
Sure.
band or
Yeah.
just like a super
Exactly.
social person like you have the best intentions and you're with the band or whatever, but you might be driving someone fucking nuts
Out of their minds.
by
Sure,
even
sure.
just interacting with them on the lowest level. Just
Dude.
like, hey man, this is a great show. Everything's, and they're just like, I just
Right,
want to be
right.
alone. But the
Yeah.
job that they accepted was literally being in front of crowds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a phenomenal, interesting juxtaposition.
Your brain processes music as a language. Like same with like, you know, like math is a
Or math,
language.
yeah,
like
math, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's the same half of the brain. Actually, the music is in the same half of the brain.
Oh, this is
as
science.
Math.
Yeah.
Okay. So
for
this
sure,
is
yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Straight nerd,
Okay,
baby.
this
Yes,
is sick. That's
Yeah.
sick, actually.
Yeah, arguably you could equate that with like higher intelligence, and then like higher intelligence is often equated with like chance of like having depression or something like
There are
that.
some beautiful videos out there of, and some of them are from like America's Got Talent or whatever, but there are people who have debilitating stutters. And I mean like
sure.
can't form one word without being like, ha, ha, hi,
Yeah.
but sing opera.
Oh, sure,
That's
sure.
a beautiful, beautiful thing that shows that not only is it a different part of the brain, but that music is kind of a core, essential part of who we are as people in our form of
Yeah.
expression. There's something gorgeous.
Expression is
Absolutely.
exactly it, and I feel like that's kind of like the biggest thing. Is
I think one of the most tragic examples
Brutal.
of that, aside from the people who end up dead, is you guys remember the band Days of the New?
No, I don't.
Shelf in the Room, and
I'm so bad at everything.
it's cool.
now.
It's cool. It's just
Yeah,
a very,
yeah.
so there's a band called Tantric that
Uh-huh.
is the remainder of everyone that came from Days of the New. Days of the
Yeah.
New this is like mid to late 90s. I got this time on my hands.
I do know that.
Okay, now we go. Now we
One,
go.
two of you. So Days of the New was huge, like
Yeah.
signed first label when he was 16, which is very
Oh.
similar to Silverchair. And both of these things go very similar routes where incredible talent. And this dude is self-taught. He's 16. He didn't go to fucking Berkeley.
sure.
And there was just some sort of literally savant nature there. You're just born with it. And then it's like your humanity catches up to your talent. The talent's there, fucking deal with it. It's coming out of your body. Your ability to interact with society is a very distant second. So, dude, literally the first tour for Days of the New after getting signed was opening up for Metallica on a world tour. This dude is 16.
That's
after the first album and then this tour, he is fully addicted to meth and has fired his entire band. And then he goes on to put out 2 other albums, but all of it is studio musicians. He never actually tours a full tour.
It ruined him.
You guys ever seen the show Intervention?
Yeah.
So there is an episode which his name's Travis Meeks. He has an episode and it's so fucking heart crushing. Like,
I'm sure
he lives in a van in his mom's driveway. His mom, and rightfully so, very early on got basically like legal rights to his bank account.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And he basically has to like torment her because he's still getting royalties, but it goes through a bank account that his mom controls.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking wild. And like, I've seen him live since that episode of Intervention. And and I don't mean this to be an asshole. I'm just saying he literally was dressed like and had the physical shape of like Beetlejuice.
Gotcha.
His hair is all frayed out. No, not one time during the whole show. No eye contact. It's one man band.
He's just done. Yeah.
But he still has this genius level acoustic guitar talent. And it's so sad. And I saw him at like a 30-person venue. This dude toured the world.
That's crazy.
With 2 number 1 singles opening it for Metallica. And it's just but that's to your point. A lot of us get into music because it's our outlet, it's our healing, it's our passion. No fucking 15-year-old, unless you're like
Justin
Miley
Bieber.
Cyrus and your dad is fucking Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah.
You get into music because you found that like, punching kids or doing drugs or whatever is not my release. It's creating music or fucking shredding this guitar or screaming this microphone is my release. And sometimes that ends up in an incredible opportunity, but sometimes that opportunity is the thing that's your fucking end.
Yeah. That happens a lot. It's wild.
That's fucking wild. Did you guys go to Warped Tour just like for fun as when you were kids?
Oh yeah,
I mean, definitely went a couple
So
years.
Warped Tour was like Goldfinger, 311. Maybe.
Oh yeah, now it's way different.
I probably went to my 5th Warped Tour when I was a junior in high school, and it was the first time that I saw Killswitch Engage.
Oh,
and when I saw them, I'd only heard My Curse.
Yeah, of course.
And then the first time I saw them on the literally that's how I fucking heard it. And then it was also in the Resident Evil soundtrack, and I was like, really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then I saw that on the lineup, and I was like, oh, I'll go check this out. The girlfriend I took at the time, who we both learned at the same time what a wall of death is.
Oh yeah,
we learned about it differently. So Howard gets on stage and he's like,
then afterwards we have to talk about all of our wall of deaths first.
For sure. So he's like, all right, motherfuckers, spread it out. And thousands of people. It's like Moses parting the Red Sea. Yeah. And then it's me and Sam in the middle having no idea what's going on. I'm backing up because I'm skeptical. She's kind of we're also fucked up. She's literally dead center of where the wall of death is going to become a Braveheart fight scene. And as the guy's 1, 2, 3, I literally just fucking sprint in there and fucking firemen carry her. I sprint
this
out.
is not where you want to be right now.
There are people fucking, and I get it. It's again, this is something that people don't understand. It's still, there is a sense of community to it. There is a sense of love to it.
I know, it's hard to describe.
But there's people getting knocked out and stuff like
sure,
it happened. I was like, dude, wild. And there's something in the same way that it's so cool to see 100,000 people. You see the like Metallica playing in Russia in the late 90s, and there's literally 300,000 people there all singing For Whom the Bell Tolls, and no one speaks English, but they all know. There is a uniquely human thing about that.
Yeah.
There was a similar but microcosm aspect of that with the Wall of Death, which we just didn't understand. We didn't have the context, and I'm glad I pulled her out. Otherwise, her fucking jaw would be on the ground.
I saw fucking Hatebreed, and the pit was probably like, must have been at least, I don't know, say like a 60 to 80 foot, diameter. Yeah. And there was a dude in a wheelchair, and like they just picked him up and just had him running around the pit,
Ripping, baby.
It's like, oh, and everybody's taking care of everybody. But it was cool as hell.
That's
the Wall of Death.
Oh, Wall of Death.
Yeah. Maybe if a show at the White Rabbit counts. Something like that.
No. It's a Wall of Death.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's like a 250 cap venue.
Yeah, you could do Wall of Death with 25 on each side. You could.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that was probably something like,
dude, I'd say 1,200 inside, by the way.
What at the Rabbit?
Yeah, you
I
think
mean,
so?
they would. It was probably like a 250 cap, but they'd probably fit like 500 people in there.
They would jam.
Oh
that
yeah,
thing.
dude. That was like the
Stick to
heyday
Your
of
Gun
fucking
show?
DIY
Oh,
shows.
my God.
Yeah, super fun.
Dude, my first one was.
Oh, sorry, real quick. Just how did that was your first? Did you understand what it was when it was happening?
I mean, at that point, I'd been listening to a whole lot of bands like Lamb of God and like As Lay Dying or whatever, or like.
The thing is that I'm fairly
we
well
gotta
versed
get
in
it
Lamb of God. Is that they don't have like an intro track? It's like, hey, boys and girls, thanks for listening. Just so you know, when you come to our show one day, there's going to be a time where we part the Red Seas and you're going to beat the fucking
Oh
shit
yeah,
out of
it's
each
like
other.
it's known, it's a given, right?
I'll definitely tell my first Wall of Death experience. It's at Stubbs Barbecue,
Love it.
What?
Lamb of God.
Fuck off! No way!
Bro,
Get out!
it was
yeah.
Lamb of God,
Hell yeah.
Unearth,
Oh,
Chimera, or
that sounds right.
I assume that the
Yeah.
outside venue.
yeah, the outside video, Lamb of God, Unearth, Chimera,
Inside,
Trivium.
I love trivia.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
there
wow,
with
that's
my brother, and like, yeah, party down the middle, like, let's go, like, run full speed. You just run.
But are you literally just following the? You're like looking around. You're like,
yeah. Like,
but
party
you
down the
don't. You
middle.
don't actually know.
No. But
Okay.
everyone
Oh.
party down the middle. I'm like, okay, well, he said part it. Clearly, we need to move, pick a side. And then, like, this guy with no shirt on, he's like 300 pounds in the middle, beating his chest. I'm not going to follow his lead. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, all right, well, I'm just going to walk that way. So I like walk over that way, get to one side, and I'm like chilling. Everything's cool. Then it's like, oh, whenever I say 3 on my count, I'm like, okay, and everyone's getting, I'm like, all right, I know what's. So then we just run to the middle, and I just like jump, and the first guy hit dislocates my shoulder. It's just out of socket. It's done. And then everyone's still moshing, and I'm just like trying to get the hell out of there.
Crying
Like,
a
oh,
little
this
bit.
is terrible.
I have a real pussy similar story.
Yeah.
I got my shoulder dislocated at a Creed concert. So sorry.
Creed,
Yeah.
wow.
So
If we're gonna talk about just in lieu of like first something and show, my first show I ever went to was
did
at
you
the
have
White
sex
Rabbit.
in the pit?
Dude, the first,
Close enough.
dude, the
My first show was Panic at the Disco at the White Rabbit.
Fuck it, dude. I will
Wild.
as a fucking metal fan, I will say that first album is a legit good rock
I still
album.
jam it. Yeah.
That is a legit good rock album.
Sit tight, I'm gonna need you to keep that shit goes off.
No, there's a there are some legit bangers on that.
Oh,
I'm all for that. And back to my original thing, I will
yeah.
stand by that first Creed album. There is My Own
You
Prison.
know,
There is
it's
I don't give a
alright.
shit. Also, I'm a
I know,
Nickelback
it's
fan.
fun to
I'm gonna
make
own it
fun
right
of,
now.
but it goes off.
No, it's just like
It hits
funny
hard.
thinking about moshing to that.
But no, so to be clear,
when
it wasn't.
no,
Hold
no.
on, it wasn't that. It was so, and the openers were Oleander, which they had one good song, and then Our Lady Peace, which I think is the most underrated band of the '90s.
Yeah.
But then during Creed, what it was is that a 300-pound guy getting body surfed landed on my shoulder. I was
that's
just
the
like, oh. It was, dude.
Dude, I've always been a
It was
runt,
done,
dude. That's
dude.
like that has been my whole life at shows, like hardcore metal shows, just like, and for whatever, like I can only get so far whenever I'm like 16 fucking years old and
Yeah.
I weigh like 120 pounds. I can only get so far to try and like scream into the mic. And then, I get some like 6'8", 300-pound man just like swoop. I'm just like I'm an empty soda can, dude. He just gets me.
Empty soda.
I'm just like, yeah. So,
Love it.
but I
Love
went
it.
through that a whole lot. So,
Love it.
the next couple of years, when my back problems develop, I'm gonna.
Oh, there you go. That is the first camera time. We're gonna call it. This is halftime right now. We're gonna go
peepee time,
drink for an
baby.
hour, and we're gonna be
Let's
back
go.
in an hour. Okay.
Is it
So,
time? Yeah, sorry.
so the cameras are back on. Get off your
I
fucking
was,
phone.
I was still like, I was trying to like post.
Oh, it's good.
it,
It's
you know?
good. No, do it. I know. I appreciate the promo. That's good.
Wait,
That's good.
should I though?
No,
Like,
do it. No,
or
no,
should
do
I
it.
like
No.
take more time to
No,
like
no,
make
no,
sure
no.
it's, like,
Make it
good?
real sloppy.
What I also.
So we're back after the cameras went down, and I would like the second half of this just opus of an episode to be your story,
It's gonna be
my
whack.
friend here, Xavier. So
Ready.
I'm very curious about your origin story, your connection to Austin,
Sure.
your musical relationship with Austin, and what has kept you here, and just give me the whole thing. So go.
Cool. Super. Probably not as interesting as a bus catching on
All
fire.
right, we're gonna hard pass. We're going back over
All right,
here.
cool.
so.
Yeah. So I actually moved to Austin when I was like 10 from the Panhandle. I lived in Amarillo. Moved here when I was 10. Did middle school here before I moved to San Antonio. I was there for I don't know, like 8-9 years. That's where I met Brian. Started getting into the music scene there. So if we're gonna get into the whole like the music thing, if that's a whole part
That's
of
the
the whole
idea.
deal,
That's
like
the general idea.
yeah. So like I've been a musician like I don't know. I'd say most of my life. I'm like pushing 30. I've started playing instruments when I was like 4, so like whatever.
You're pushing 30, dude. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bro,
dude,
don't even, let's
just
not
so you know,
say
your
that.
bush
Let's not
turns
say that.
entirely gray the day you hit 30. Just so
My
you know,
get the
just
salt
my
and pepper,
ass
baby.
hair is already gray.
Dude, salt and pepper, baby.
it wraps
Shit,
around.
dude.
It wraps around. Okay.
Hot dog.
Self-taught, took lessons. How did
I
you?
have an uncle who's a guitar player. You know, he's like a metalhead and shit. So
Cool.
Yeah. So like, I grew up listening to fucking Megadeth, Metallica, Anthrax,
Yes.
Slayer, all the goods. And so by the time I got into playing guitar, like that's where like my preference was at. It was like, oh, I thought that was the coolest shit. It sounded super just like impressive to me and just like sounded really fun. Got and started playing violin when I was like 9 or 10. So like I had this like exposure already to like classical music in that sense and stuff. So like,
what got you into that? Because that's not. I feel like that's not a traditional kind of pathway musically.
I really wanted to play saxophone when I was a kid, like
Really?
more than anything ever.
Motherfucker, me too. So
Dude,
coming out of my
I still
deafness,
want it.
the thing that I wanted most was to play saxophone, and then
It's
was
sexy.
in band. So I'm
Yeah.
older than you, but at the time,
Sure.
Bill Clinton had played saxophone on
Dude,
Arsenio
yeah.
Hall. I was like,
Oh,
that's the coolest shit ever.
Man, dude.
So I try
He's
out
the
with the
man.
plastic recorder, like you play Hot
Oh,
Cross
yeah.
Buns and Jingle Bells, and I failed miserably. So the guy was like, either percussion section or you're not in band. And I was so angry, but I'm so glad that it went that way. But I
Sure,
wanted
yeah.
saxophone so bad. So
Honestly,
I get it.
yeah,
I get
big
it.
same. So like, maybe it was the same for you. Like, they told me when I was in elementary school, like you can start orchestra in at the 5th grade, but if you want to do band things, i.e., woodwinds, percussion, what have you, you have to wait until you start middle school, 6th grade, la-di-da. And I
Interesting.
was like, I don't want to wait for shit, bitch. Like, I need to learn some notes. I got to get playing. I got ideas. I got noise to make.
So you bought some timpani and
And,
some kettlebells, and you fucking got.
We went to a flea market, and my mom bought me a violin, and that was tight as fuck.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, super. I still have it. I've had it for. We're not gonna disclose that. I've had it for a long time, and I feel that like getting started on that kind of. By the time I like picked up guitar, it felt like really natural to me, and it was just like cool. Like I get the idea.
That's
My
nice.
uncle plays guitar, so it was like I had it in my mind's eye that I was like already gonna be good at it.
Isn't
you know?
there something very cool about the genetic nature of musical talent? The fact that this
Absolutely.
is something that is
It's
literally
absurd,
shared.
really, because
Yeah.
like I feel pretty confident. Like I feel like I'm like well enough knowledgeable and like I have like good enough technical skill to like hang with like
Yeah.
I can go out some fucking strangers and just like have a good time.
Yeah.
But like you just like meet some people that are just like you're stupid. Like what is this about? I don't understand. Like it's upsetting. Like I'm gonna go home and drown in the bathtub. But like it gets
I mean,
wild.
Hopefully not that, but yes.
No,
But yeah,
of
there's
course,
something very
but-
cool about the fact that you come, and it still requires dedication, practice, focus, everything like that.
That's another thing is like I feel that like I've recently kind of decided that I don't think that I particularly believe in talent. I don't think that talent is like, I mean like, yeah, sure. Some people get things quicker than others, but I think, like maybe that's cognitive, like predisposition to something, like you're exposed to something to where like your brain can make like these connections. So like, all right, this makes sense to me. Like, all right, like it's fine. Like, I don't
You
think
believe in
I don't
passion.
think passion absolutely is
Yeah.
super important, super
Exactly.
important. And like, so like having, yeah, exactly that, honestly, just having like the willingness to like put in the work. Cause like, it's really all like the work that you're going to put into it. Like,
Because I guess someone could have the cognitive ability to learn to read music,
But
and
they
play
don't
it.
have the passion.
They,
But
they
they
did
don't-
not give a
exactly.
single fuck, and then
Yeah.
it's just like it doesn't come out.
sure,
music,
yeah.
and,
Like I
Yeah.
can say for fucking certain that like I have friends that like, like they don't know how to read music or anything, but they just have a good ear, so like
Yeah.
they can pick up a guitar or something or even like play a little diddly on a piano, but like they can't like, you can't tell them like, hey, we're going to play in this key and do like play like a solo and like there's
Yep.
like a key change.
Yeah.
They'll be like, this is literally a different language. I don't give a shit what you're saying to me.
100%. Yeah.
But like,
but I'll still rip it.
I mean, yeah, like they can, like if you give them time, like they'll figure it out and it'd
Yeah.
be cool. But like, I also have some other friends that are like, they don't have that like,
We're doing
Like
E minor
super
sustained
natural-
in 3/4 kind of thing, and you're just like, cool, gotcha. This is the math.
yeah,
that I
right. You're
understand.
exactly
Yeah,
the
yeah,
math,
yeah,
right? Yeah. And, but the thing is like, I have friends that like, they can write in that. And if you were to like show them a riff and like, hey, we're writing this song, they could learn it like this.
Yep.
But like, I also, know people that are like, all right, I have to like sit with this for like a couple days,
Yep.
Like really, really digest what's going on. If you weren't so passionate about fucking, I want to go on tour, I want to see different parts of the country. I want to like have some fucking
Dude,
fun
learn
and
how to
find out
drive a
about myself.
bus.
Learn how to drive a bus, but
it's
yeah.
the same with you. It's the same with everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like podcast, you learn every instrument.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't- we come-
How did I
me-
say that though?
Justin and I coming into this, we're not somehow AV nerds or something.
Yeah.
We didn't. He did the research on what mics to buy or whatever. We've done the research on the podcast that we love to figure out conversational format and duration and how to chop it up for social and everything like that. So yeah,
I love that.
And
it's a learning thing.
And I'll be honest, like that's what I was actually excited about today because I'm like, I've always thought about starting my podcast. Man, this will be perfect. Yeah. I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to interview people who are in my front seat.
Yeah.
On the tour bus and talk to them. And I'm going to have a mic. I'm going to have a mic for them.
Literally like the Band Bus podcast.
Easy
Damn, that's
work.
a cool idea.
And I'm going to talk to them and interview them. But it's like every time they're like fucked up as hell. But I'm like, this will be perfect. Yeah. And they'll approve it. They won't give a shit. Yep. And I'm like, man, this will be huge. Yep. But then like, it just never happens because the passion's not there.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm just like, man, this will be great. So I'm just like, always like, man, damn, I have so many ideas. And before I used to get upset because I'd have ideas, someone else would do something. Be like a year and a half after my idea. I'm like, God damn it, man. And you know what? Like, I stopped getting mad about that because I'm like, you know what? I didn't have the passion. I didn't push it. But then it was like, you know what? I don't have the capacity for it. Yep. And that's why that podcast I was thinking about, which was like the bus driver, who's like talking. And I have a camera here, microphone right in front of the like guy who's like fucked up in my front seat. This will work, you know. But then I was like, man, that extra little bit I didn't have in me. Yep. And so I realized that and I was like, okay. And then I was willing to let it go. Cause I was like, you know what? Like, I just don't have that. Yep. That's why like being here, I'm like, damn, this is sick. Sure. This is my first podcast to ever be on, but I've been thinking about this for years.
So we got Zach sitting over here right off camera here, but so we have these weekly status updates and we publish them to our Patreon to let people understand what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So your concept is awesome. The minutia, the details that would go into actually bringing that to fruition.
Details?
Yeah. Okay. But the bullshit details.
Okay, yeah.
The fucking tiny fucking the microphone. Is it picking up more engine noise than the guy talking?
Exactly.
That's exactly, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Right.
It's publishing. When do you have time to edit? When you're switching between
all of that stuff is what made me like, you know what, like. This is a great idea, but I'm not going to be able to actually do this and my job at the same time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Sure. Like, I'm just not going to be, even though like in my like great world that I think of, I'm like, this will be perfect. Yeah. I got Morgan, I got all these like people and they're going to tell these stories. They're not going to give a shit.
And I know.
And then their manager is going to say, no, you shouldn't drop that. And they're going to say, fuck you, I'm going to drop it. And then I'm going to drop it, and then it's going to be great. And it's not even like I'm trying to get money off of it. It's just more like just hearing the story.
You want to tell the stories.
The stories are so good. And I'm like, there's so many stories I've heard and so many things I've experienced. I'm just like, man, if people could just hear this, this will actually change the way they think about life. Because, man, like, this guy's living this way.
Totally.
And he's this happy. Yep. It's possible for me. I don't have to do that. I can take that risk. You know what I'm saying?
So honestly, the industry knowledge to you is that your best bet would be to go to a production company and sell the idea to them and have them if it worked out, they handle everything that you are not equipped to handle.
Exactly. Yeah.
In the same way that I'm not equipped to handle all of this.
It's always collab.
Yes.
You never want to do everything on your own. 100%. And that was like, that's like one of those like things we have to Austin, Texas ourselves.
Sure.
Get where I could do this on my own.
Yeah, all DIY.
And so the quicker you realize that and all that is humbling yourself. Yeah. The quicker you humble yourself.
This episode is brought to you by Quickler. Quickler.com.
Hey, Quickler Muffers. You know, we just
I've always been super impressed and inspired by Trent Reznor, Dave Grohl, Clint Lowry, these types of guys who still at the end of the day, they are the tip of the spear, leading the charge, the creative mastermind, but they still know to surround themselves with the best producers and trustworthy musicians.
Whenever the Foo Fighters played ACL, was it a couple of years ago? Mm-hmm. I have a buddy who works at South Austin Music on Lamar. Great spot. If you're ever in town, check it out. Wonderful place. Great people. Great products. Anyways, Dave Grohl went in and bought the guitar that he played, or one of the guitars he played that night at ACL for that show. He bought that day at South Austin Music, you know, and like a buddy Scott of mine was working there and it's like, oh, this is, you know, just like really outrageous. And then also fucking Tenacious D came through when they were playing at Stubbs.
Yeah,
they were playing at Stubbs and fucking Jack Black and Kyle Gass come through South Austin Music and they just wind up rehearsing in South Austin Music for like 2 or 3 hours. And I was like, Scott, you fucking piece of shit for not calling me and being like,
This is happening right now.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
like,
happening right now.
I thought you were my friend, ho. What are you doing? Like, come on, that's amazing. Like, what a dream, you know?
Are you a big Tenacious D
But-
fan?
Oh, absolutely. Since I was like 13 years old.
My freshman year of college, I am not a morning person, and I go through kind of bouts of depression. And the thing that was my number one tool in my arsenal to fight it is every single day I woke up, I had an alarm set that started playing Kielbasa Sausage. Every single day I woke up at 7 a.m. and my goal was, so the whole song, it's about 3-minute long song. And my goal was to get out of bed by the time it is where it's building us up. So you know what time it is? It's Tenacious D time. You motherfucker go. Doom, doom, doom. Fuck yeah. And by the time I was out of bed, I was like, yes, like, fuck it. I don't care that it's winter. I don't care that it's
Yeah, right.
It's funny that even that kind of, it's a comedy album,
incredible.
but every day, I'm not kidding, my freshman year, that was my
It got you through, man.
That was my reason to wake up.
So I
Honestly,
respect
it was.
that.
It really
Yeah,
was.
big respect.
Yeah.
It like sounds funny, but 100%.
Totally real.
But it's like great to find the thing that gets you up and gets you going. People need to identify more like, man, this is a problem I have. Not like, this is my problem, this is who I am. More like, this is my problem, how am I going to solve it?
We were talking about this downstairs, is that our generation of men is much more, I don't even say allowed, it's just, we've just accepted the fact that like, oh, guess
We're
what?
emotional.
We have feelings and you're not a fucking pussy in the sense that like, that's what's assigned to you. Like,
Sure, yeah,
oh, you
yeah,
have
yeah.
emotions?
And also, like-
it's a derogatory thing where it's like,
Is that
fuck
the-
you.
Right, yeah, like it's
Yeah,
wrong
100%.
to like have these feelings, and like your life is so much more better when you're not emotionally constipated. Like you can connect and what the fuck am I trying to say? You can just talk to people around you, like you can communicate with people. Thank you. There's the word. So like you can communicate meaningfully, like your true authentic self. You know, for us, I feel like if I don't fucking explain where the fuck I'm at right now in my heart, I'm gonna die way sooner than I oughta.
Dude,
because it's just
That's
important. It's like
everything.
isn't it
there.
right,
That is
dude? It's just like-
everything. Yeah, because
I feel like-
I think about that myself, and I'm like, dude, if I don't get this out, I'm gonna start getting depressed. I'm gonna start going down this path. I'm gonna start
man.
doing all this stuff. And
And then, like, yeah, it sounds super fucking like namaste,
Dude.
hoity-toity, whatever. Like,
by
I
the
don't
way,
fucking
quit
know, but like,
apologizing for what you'd like to say.
all right, thank you for
just
that.
Talk.
Yeah, don't preface the things that you believe with some sort of like.
Just
that-
talk.
Right, you are. Right,
I do it
you
too.
are,
I do it too. I'm just saying we got to
I know,
reinforce
but
each
I'm
other.
always
in
gonna
that,
call
like,
everybody out on that.
Yeah,
And
no,
we're
no,
gonna
no,
call
which
you
is-
out too, motherfucker.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
No, that's great for me though, because I mean, I knew that. Like, I'm a big old softy, baby. I'm a Cancer. Come on, you know what it is.
Oh, it's the cancer.
Yeah, it's him. I'm a Cancer vibe. June 25th, baby. Send me my Venmo is.
I like that idea. It's like on your dating profiles, like I'm a big old softy. I'm a Cancer. Here's my band.
Yo,
Here's my band.
But again, those things are actually connected, which I think is actually
yeah.
a beautiful thing. I think that's really fucking cool. That the byproduct of being not a softy, but being
Yeah.
emotionally in tune with yourself and those
Sure.
around you can result in some of the best music of a wide variety of different genres.
Yeah, just vibing, you know, just like steady vibing at home. But what, I don't know. I've been drinking, forgot what I was saying.
This episode is brought to you by
But for
all
what?
of the beers.
But
don't say it. Don't say it. But for what?
So, on a musical note, a story that I want to have included in this conversation because it's something that you and I talked about the first night that we met, but also something I witnessed days before meeting you.
Yeah.
Please tell me about your experience in Mexico City during a music festival late last
you
year.
were there
I'm
for
super
that.
curious about this.
you're talking about
Not
Not
Fest,
Fest?
baby.
Oh yeah, the fucking riots, baby. Okay, I want to hear about it.
All right. Like you even told me you were going to ask me about
Yeah,
it. I was
but,
like,
but even
holy
before I
shit.
met you, I saw like from the bands that I love, I'm seeing pictures of shit on fire on
Dude, so-
stage, 300,000 people pissed off. I'm like, what is going on?
Dude.
And then I meet you days later and you have inside scoop. I'm like, let's talk about
I'll tell you.
this.
I'll tell you about my personal experience. So I'm like there. I'm drum teching for Nothing More at the time. So we had already done the Ghost tour together.
Yep.
That was my like first like full tour drum taking everything for Ben. My favorite experience drum taking because he'll tell me he's robotic.
Yep.
Like if you do something wrong, he'll just like tell you did something wrong. He's not gonna be emotional. He's like, the drum ticker was in the wrong
Yeah,
spot.
or like alt
He's
snare
not like,
needs to be here.
why
Yep,
was
yep.
that there?
not
He's
a
just
diva.
like,
Yep.
this was wrong.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And then whenever you do something right, he goes, good job. And then, but it's not like, man, good job, you're crushing it. It's just like,
Full body hug. And
yeah,
like-
it's just like, good job.
cool. That's
you know,
awesome.
or just like I'm like, sick. This is exactly what I
Good
need.
enough, right?
That's all part of the equation of what leads to
I
a
don't
good
need
show,
too
so.
much. You know what I mean? Because then I'm gonna want too much, like too much. You know what I mean? Then
I want
it's-
full body hugs all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So we're
So-
simple.
I just finished like the Ghost tour with them, and everything was like great. And then we go down to Mexico City. We have Knot Fest. Me and the tour manager like drive the gear down to Laredo, sign off on it.
So they're bringing this festival
to Mexico City.
To Mexico City, which is outside of the States, metal is fucking huge.
Huge.
So them bringing this experience in this community of metal into one of the epicenters of the passion for this is a big fucking deal, which is important context for how the rest of this plays out.
Slipknot's fucking giant everywhere. I don't know what they did right, but like they are huge everywhere all the time. Sure. Like Metallica, yeah, you know, pretty big. Slipknot, for some reason, did some. Corey Taylor's a madman. I have a picture with him, and it did great on my Tinder.
You see me with this half-rotting face clown, wanna fuck?
Yeah.
I do think there's something about the theatrics. So like Rammstein is one in the world. It's like one of the biggest global bands ever. They play here, they'll play like, they can sell at Madison Square Garden. In other venues, they'll sell out like a really great rock venue.
Yeah.
They play Spain. They sell at the biggest fucking soccer stadium.
Oh,
you know,
unreal. You know, like Slipknot's theatrics, like that is the most amazingly produced concert show, whatever, that I've ever like seen live.
There's something about 9 professional musicians fully synced up, rocking the fuck out to some visceral metal.
Visceral, and like the pyrotechnics, and on top of that, just the crowd, bro.
I've said so many words tonight that I fucking love.
Like, I can't even spell that. Goddamn.
Visceral, like Velociraptor.
Yes, exactly. The Raptors are opening the doors to your heart with the metal.
What?
Yes.
Bro, I'll be honest,
You know.
in Colombia, Smash Mouth. Like,
Stop. All-Star.
Are you fucking serious, dude?
I'm just saying. So then whenever I'm there, like I'm at like a rock club, I'm like
They'll play Walking
No,
on
they're
the
playing
Sun, and
rock
people are like,
music.
Oh God, I love that you said that because that's the song. It's
Wait,
not All
what?
Star.
Smash Mouth. Smash Mouth.
It's not All Star.
Oh yes, yeah.
It's that one.
Oh, yeah.
Which
And then everybody
Might
goes,
as well be walking on the sun.
no. It's might as well be son. That's how they sing.
Oh,
Because no one knows
gotcha,
the lyric.
gotcha.
Nobody knows the word.
Might as well be son.
All right.
All right, guys, we got way the fuck off track.
Okay, so I'm there drum teching. Me and the tour manager have to like drive all the gear to the border. And so we drop it off at the border
From where?
from San Antonio. As we drop it off, the guy's like, oh yeah, you're in good hands. You know, and we're just like, dude, this is so much Drumtron. All the stuff that they like do, like, and if that's gone, that's gone.
Yeah.
Because that's welded.
Literally
that's
handmade,
something
yes,
you can
yeah.
just like get.
100%.
So then we just like drop it off. We're like, oh, you know, hopefully this works.
Also,
You know,
Laredo to Mexico City is like not a quick trip.
it's not a quick trip, but it's not safe. Part of that thing was, would you like a police escort for your gear? And then like we're like, no. Then like as we're driving off, we're like, damn, if they offer that, we should probably do that.
Yes. Did they put a price on it? They just flat out said
No, they put a price on it.
What was it?
Like $2,000. So anyways,
Roll those dice.
so
Roll
we
those
go there.
dice.
So we go there. We're like, I'm setting up the gear, you know.
Huge venue.
Yeah, giant venue. It's like it's honestly the same vibe of ACL. It's a giant ass place with a bunch of people and a lot of things that you have to like set up.
Right, but
it's the same vibe.
But these people aren't here to see Lizzo and the National. They're
No,
here to see
not at
fucking
all.
Slipknot.
So
So when you say same
everybody's-
vibe, you're saying the same amount of people.
Same amount of people,
yeah.
not the same vibe.
Yeah,
These are
sure,
all
sure,
people
sure.
charged up,
Yeah.
ready for their release.
Yeah.
Get there, everybody's on the stage and stuff. So I'm like, oh, I gotta set up these drums and everything. I'm gonna set them up in the back of this like truck. So I'm in the back of a truck setting up the drums and everything. It's not, it's not the ideal environment, but whatever. I knew Mexico, I know what's gonna happen.
Yep.
There's gonna be some like shortcuts and stuff.
Yep.
But we're still gonna get it done.
Yeah.
And they're like, damn, man, I like your vibe. I'm like, oh, well, thanks, but I still got work to do. And so,
Real quick, one of my favorite moments in the movie Cable Guy. Do you remember that? There's
Yes,
just like
I
a real
do.
quick scene where he's like, don't go bungee jumping in Mexico. They don't have the same regulations.
exactly. Very different.
That's what I'm
Very
saying.
different
That's what I'm
regulations.
saying.
Very
You're
different.
not bungee jump though. You're here to make fucking good music.
So I get it all set up and everything. Then we move them up on stage. It's all good. Set goes off. Everybody's excited. All good. Johnny's like huffing oxygen because it's like 6,000 feet elevation. No one thinks about that when they play Mexico City.
They're objectively one of the most energetic, high
Yes,
energy, great
100%.
bands
Sure,
of the
sure.
last 5 years.
And
So,
like
yeah.
6,500 feet in Mexico City is very hard.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
just like walk up a little thing and you're like,
You're higher than Denver. Yeah. So you're getting, but people are getting fucking jacked, and those people are adjusted. So the crowd's not getting, just like when you play the
Crowd's
Broncos
stoked.
in
Oh,
Denver.
sure.
Yeah, they're not fucking winded because they're fucking pumping fists and bouncing.
they're
whatever.
stoked. Smooth set goes good, everything's fine.
And what, we're 3 bands or 2 bands out from the headliner?
I'd say 2.
Okay.
So I'm up on stage and like Evanescence is about to go on. They're trying to go on. Then all of a sudden they have to delay the set because they broke the barricade. So we're just
The crowd.
Yeah, the crowd
This-
was pushing forward and
this
like
fucking
getting ready.
thrilled crowd.
Yeah,
It was so
getting
pumped up,
ready
yeah.
for Slipknot, and they're like, "Oh, we'll get through Evanescence,
Yep,
and then
yep.
we can't wait because Slipknot's gonna come on."
Yep.
So they're very excited and stuff, and I'm
Yes.
filming and everything. I'm like, "Dude, this is wild." And people, whenever you like look out from backstage, you can't see the end.
Just an ocean of fucking
It's just
people.
an ocean.
ready
It's the
to
best way to say
fucking
it.
rock. Yes.
They're just
yeah.
all ready and like, you have to think about like we get conscious all the time. These people have been waiting for this for so, and they've been
Right.
saving their money for a long time, and they're ready for this day and to see Slipknot.
All of this is important context.
Slipknot.
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 All right, but first we get to hear "Wake Me Up Inside." So that's okay. So
That's what you're thinking.
go.
But they don't even go on stage.
Ooh.
Because it's like broken at that time. Everyone's freaking out. They're like, "Oh, we have to pause. We have to wait." And
The organizers of the festival are saying the Evanescence can't even come on before Slipknot because the
before
barricade.
we fix the barricade.
Okay.
And then like the barricade's not getting fixed yet. I'm hammered off the tequila shots from backstage, like with like whatever tequila. God, like this guy was my friend. One more, my friend.
With the thumbs
One
up.
more, my friend. If you
We are
need
friends.
anything else, let me tell you, my friend. And then my girlfriend at the time, she was like, "Baby, we need to leave." And I was like, "Why? No."
She had a finger on the pulse of what's coming.
I was
She
like,
knew.
"This
no doubt,
this
yeah.
is great." And she's like, "No, baby, we need to leave. Mexicans," she's from Colombia.
Yep.
Mexicans, they are not very good when they are angry. And I'm like, I mean, we could do whatever makes you happy, but I just kind of want to see Slipknot right now, like from this angle.
So did 95,000 other people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
no
like,
shit.
"No, baby, I do not believe it will happen." I'm like, "All right, well, let's leave then."
Yeah.
And so then we like walk down to the side of the stage. There's like an Escalade.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, well, shit, I'm involved, baby. I got the tour pass. Hey, we're all
Yeah.
access, honey."
Yeah.
Ended up being like the guitar player for Evanescence.
Evanescence, yep.
Yeah. So I'm like, "All right, I'll hop in with them, and like, damn, wild ride, huh? So I guess y'all aren't playing." He's like, "Nah, man, there's no way. Like, we're not gonna play." And so my perspective, we go back to the hotel, have a lot of fun. Me and my lady.
Sure.
But anyway, yeah, because by the way, there's these scorpions you can eat in like they sell like these like little scorpions in Mexico City. And they're supposed to make you horny.
It's like Spanish fly or whatever.
You know what I'm
yeah, I
saying?
got
So,
you.
so I ate a bunch of those beforehand,
Yeah.
but I was definitely very horny.
But the status of your dick, we got to leave that aside. We got to get back to the show.
Okay, yeah. Back to the show. So anyways, we get back to the hotel and stuff, and we hear like rumors that like everything's canceled, but we don't really know.
Yep.
Go to sleep. Woke up the next day, and then like all I see is all these. "Are you okay?" They burned an Evanescence whole set down. Like they were just like, "It's done."
Yep.
Slipknot's not playing. We're storming the stage. The keyboards, all of their gear and everything. And I was just like,
It's fucking insane, dude.
impressive.
It's literally looks like out of context, it looks like a military coup happening. It's the scale of which 50 or 100,000 people join together to collectively be like, "Fuck you." This is.
I
not
got
what
these
we signed for."
matches. I got this gas ball.
It's wild, dude.
I don't even know how you
tequila.
do it.
It's fucking wild.
Y'all burned a entire stage down. And it's like no one got hurt. It's not like we're going out there. They weren't like rioting. Like no one was in danger. But obviously when you see the videos and stuff, you're like, "Damn, is everyone all right?"
Yeah, fucking wild, dude.
But dude.
Okay. I want to thank both of you for being a part of this episode. I really appreciate it. I really hope that Xavier, you and I get to see each other. Like, I'm not going anywhere, man. I'm around. This motherfucker.
Hey, let's jam, man.
No, but this motherfucker's abandoning us and going to just this tropical paradise
Yeah,
on
let
the
me
other side of the
just-
Oh,
hemisphere.
don't get me
and
started
just,
on Colombia. I'll talk another 30 minutes.
I fucking bet you will.
The big thing I talk about in every episode is connective tissue.
Sure.
I've never met you before.
Yeah.
We met through very extenuating but
Yes.
wonderful circumstances, and it is the music that binds us. And I'm very, I feel very fortunate to know you.
Yeah, like
Super glad, super glad.
Super glad.
Super to be
Super
passé.
glad.
Hey, see.
You like the oh shit, cameras are going down. I just
Perfect.
Just want to thank you guys so much for being on the show. Thank you everyone else for watching. Please connect with us on social media and download these episodes and support these motherfuckers. And yeah, thank you guys so much.
Yes, thank you. My pleasure.
Boom!
Super fun.
Love it. Love it.
X gon'